In this video, we're going to talk about hearing protection in the service department, why and when you should wear hearing protection if you work in service. Throughout the day in the service department, several tools are used that can create noise levels that are potentially high enough to cause permanent hearing loss. Some of those tools are compressed air when it's used for cleaning, impact wrenches, air ratchets, and air hammers. Most air power tools create very dangerous sound levels. Noise exposures are calculated as a dose, generally over an 8-hour workday. Hearing protection reduces the amount of dose an employee receives. To put this into perspective, over an 8-hour work period, an employee is allowed to be exposed to a time-weighted average of 90 decibels. And every 5 decibels after 90 doubles the amount of sound pressure and cuts that exposure time in half, as you can see from the chart below. So let's compare some tools that we use on a daily basis to that noise dose chart. An air ratchet, for example, sits anywhere between 100 and 105 decibels. Therefore, an employee could be exposed for 1 to 2 hours maximum before receiving their entire dose of noise for the day. In impact, which is only slightly louder, an employee could be exposed for anywhere between 30 minutes and 1 hour. Air compressors operate at a lower frequency range, and they usually are going to be around 70 decibels. That is going to add to the total dose of noise that you get during a day, but it doesn't necessarily register on this chart. But cleaning with compressed air, that high-pitched frequency noise, can sit anywhere between 110 and 115 decibels, which means that an employee can only get exposed to that for 15 to 30 minutes throughout the day before receiving their entire dose. An air hammer operating at 120 decibels, an employee isn't allowed to be exposed to that for any amount of time, or they would go over their total dose of noise. Given the information from the previous slide, I think it's safe to assume that most people who work in the service department are often overexposed to noise throughout the day. Therefore, hearing protection should be used on a regular basis. Earplugs are an excellent source of hearing protection. Generally, they're going to give you the best protection because they fit inside the ear canal and totally seal off any noise that comes through. They're going to have a higher NRR listed on the package, which is noise reduction rating. This tells you how many decibels the noise will be reduced as it enters the ear canal. There are some drawbacks though. Hygiene concerns in particular. Technicians, lube techs, porters, generally are going to have dirty hands throughout the day, so we don't want to be shoving oily earplugs into our ears. Another drawback with the foam plugs in particular, even though they do give you excellent protection, you do have to roll them up and shove them all the way into the ear canal and then let it expand. Usually you want to hold your finger on the outside of the plug while it expands. Otherwise, it's not going to fit in that ear canal properly, and you're not going to get that noise protection that is listed. Ear muffs are another good option. They are long lasting because you can use them over and over again. The limitation on those, however, is you get a poor seal around hair in glasses. So that's something to look out for as well. I generally don't tell people which ones they should choose, unless of course they are doing an exceptionally loud task, and then we'll kind of direct what sort of hearing protection they should be using. Speaking of exceptionally loud tasks, you could double up on hearing protection with earmuffs and earplugs at the same time. It's not going to double the NRR, as sound moves logarithmically, so it's going to be like a difference of squares equation to tell you what the new NRR is, but it will be higher than just wearing one or the other. It is a good practice to double up if you're using a piece of equipment that is exceptionally loud, like an air hammer, or you're working in an enclosed space, like an engine bay right next to your head with a loud tool. I would definitely consider it. A rule of thumb that's often shared amongst people in the safety profession for daily noise exposure goes down to the arm's length rule. If you're within arm's length of somebody and you have to raise your voice to communicate, chances are you're at or near 85 to 90 decibels. So think about that and put that into perspective of what you get exposed to throughout the day. Do you think you're close to that on average, or do you think you're over that? So at the bare minimum, make sure you're wearing earplugs during loud activities, like using your ratchets, your impacts, and your air hammers, particularly if you're in an enclosed area. I think it's important that we all understand that once your hearing goes, you're never going to get it back. Talk to people who do have hearing aids. It's definitely not the same, and it's not ideal. Um, Also, in our industry, hearing protection is grossly underused. We need to change that trend. So use your hearing protection more often, not just on the job, but at home as well, because you only get one set of ears. Thank you.